So then, Chelsea's unideal season finally starting to be over. Today, I'm putting together a list of people that Chelsea have been linked with in real life, or people that I think would be good signings. I've just mixed them all in a bag. More links might be squashed by the time this comes out, or links might be established with people in the video that weren't previously established, all coincidence, or maybe it isn't, and I'm a super spy. So for the categories, we've got 10 out of 10. That's like a super ideal, super purchase that's going to come in and immediately have a giant impact on the squad with like minimal to no risks. Like if we sign Prime Ronaldo or Prime Messi, of course, that's a 10 out of 10. And we also have ideal, which is similar to 10 out of 10, but in the sense of it's an ideal purchase, but it might not necessarily immediately take us up a level, if you know what I mean. Risky is the signing of like a young player that's unproven in English football. So like just young talent in general that we're gonna be like if we buy them to rely on them. Like the Nicholas Jackson transfer last season was risky. Dreamland, these are the ones which are like completely unattainable, like buying Kai Havertz back from Arsenal would be dreamland sort of things, that sort of deal. Not necessarily people that I want or I hope come to the club even, but still could be that. It's just ones that I think are completely impossible to happen no matter what. And solid no are the ones that I just don't want anywhere near Chelsea Football Club on a personal level. So starting the list off, we've got Benjamin Sesko. Now he's at RB Leipzig or RB Salzburg. Maybe he was at both. Yeah, Benjamin Sesko was at both. He's been heavily linked with Chelsea in recent weeks. Currently at RB Leipzig, played 28 times in the Bundesliga this season and got 11 goals, 2 assists. So decent goal return. 20 years old. He's big, powerful, pacey, but he's not a proven goal scorer. We already have. Is he an upgrade on Nicholas Jackson? Is the immediate question you have to ask, and I don't think he is. He's not got the numbers to back up the fact that he's a clinical goal scorer or anything like that. I just think he's a young, exciting player. Of course, the Bundesliga and strikers with Chelsea don't go hand in hand, but I'm going to say Benjamin Sesko is a risky transfer purely because he's unproven, and we already have Nicholas Jackson, who's just getting better and better. So for me, if it's a choice between buy Benjamin Sesko and play him, or keep Nicholas Jackson and don't sign Benjamin Sesko, I'm going to keep Nicholas Jackson because Sesko is too much of a risk because he's not a direct upgrade to what we have. This is a surprising one. I've seen recently that Man United will accept offers for Rashford if they're like good enough, like 60 mil, 70 mil, that sort of range, but they're not going to look to sell him. He's been linked with many clubs. He's been linked with Arsenal, of course, Chelsea, of course, and primarily PSG. Marcus Rashford OBE. 31 Premier League appearances, 7 goals, 2 assists this season. 4 appearances in the Champions League, no goals, 1 goal in the FA Cup. So he's got 8 goals in 40 total appearances this season, which for the amount of money he would cost to buy from Manchester United, I'm thinking they're going to want the Mount tax that, they're going to want to make some money back after we scammed them for Mount. So I'm thinking 60, 70 mil if Chelsea were to go in, of course, that Premier League rivalry. He can cover both wings. He's primarily a left winger, at least in my eyes, but he can also play as a striker. Doesn't necessarily mean that's his best position, but he can still play there. Rashford is an interesting player. He excites me, but his work rate at times defensively isn't there like 80% of the time. A few appearances after he gets criticised, he's putting in hard-working shifts and stuff, but most of the time he's a passenger, and whether that's something to do with mental health or anything like that, don't know. I only watch United like 4 or 5 times every season when they're in big Champions League or big FA Cup games or playing against Chelsea. I don't watch Man United every game, so I don't get to really analyse Marcus Rashford that much. But anyways, I'm gonna say Marcus Rashford is a risky signing. I'm not. It's between that and solid no, but I don't think it's impossible that he joins Chelsea this summer. And whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But my favourite Chelsea player at the time went to Manchester United, and Tyler, your favourite Manchester United player, coming to Chelsea, you would experience what I felt. But let's hope that's not the case. I think he's going to stay at United for the rest of his career. We'll move on to Jonathan Tah. Jonathan Tah has been ever present in Borussia. Sorry, not Borussia. Bayer Leverkusen's backline this season under Xavi Alonso's guidance. Obviously won the league title. He's got 4 goals in 28 appearances in the Bundesliga, which is, a centre-back's primary objective isn't to score. So I'm not worried about the low goal return, because for a centre-back, 4 goals in one league campaign is very good. He's been a rock at the back for Leverkusen this season, and all I'm thinking is, why would he want to leave? I don't know his contract situation or anything like that, but why would you want to leave Leverkusen? Especially for a very unproven, raw team like Chelsea. It just, from his perspective, I can't see it. I don't see the appeal of Chelsea, even though Chelsea's like one of the biggest clubs in the world. It's just Leverkusen have the better manager, they've got a better team, they've got better setup, and they've got a better future for next, like a better immediate future next season, that they'll challenge for the title again. So for me, Jonathan Tah, he would bring, 28 years old, I believe. He'd bring immense experience at the back, which we definitely need. So I'm going to say Jonathan Tah, whilst I don't see why he would leave. Leverkusen have confirmed that they do need to sell at least one big sale this summer. So I'm going to say Jonathan Tah is ideal, but I don't really see it happening. If that makes sense. It's bordering on the line of dreamland. Really depends on him. We move on. In fact, no, I am going to reel it back in and just move him back down to dreamland, because I just really don't see why he would leave Leverkusen unless he gets forced out. I'll leave it there. Mark Gahey, former Chelsea boy, of course, 23 years old. I've seen him get a few injuries. I'm not sure if they were this season or not, but I think there's no bad blood between him and Chelsea. I think he'd be open to a move back. Good, solid centre back, but is he a direct improvement on Fofana, on Colwill? No, but he will provide that sort of familiarity. I think he would fight for the badge. He's not too young, but he's not experienced enough. Obviously, Crystal Palace, they've been struggling a lot this season under Hodgson. Then they got the new manager. Now they're flying again. But I just think with his injury record and how young he is, and his former Chelsea, and buying old players hasn't really gone well for us recently. I'm gonna say risky transfer. It's risky in the sense of, if we buy him, he could just become another injury-prone centre-back that we have. Alexander Isak, 26 appearances, 19 goals in the Premier League. That's a terrific return for a man who's playing at Newcastle. Newcastle have confirmed they need to sell, and I think Isak would cost like 70-80 million for anyone to purchase him, especially Premier League clubs. But I really like this guy. He's getting compared to Thierry Henry, which is, I think, is a step too far. I don't think you can compare anyone to Thierry Henry in the Premier League right now. But in terms of a solid striker, I think Isak is amazing. He's got good English. He knows the language. He's tall. He's powerful. He's quick, but the most important aspect of his game is he's a solid number 9 that can finish. He's clinical, reliable, and I think with Newcastle needing to sell, and I think Isak's happy at Newcastle, but the allurance of, especially if Chelsea get European, in quotes, football, I think Isak would be open to a move to Chelsea, but don't think he'd be wanting to force his way out of Newcastle, especially since, he's recently joined in the last 2 years or so. I'm going to say Alexander Isak is ideal, proven in the Prem. It's 24. He would fit right in to the core of Chelsea's squad, and he'd immediately provide proven goal scoring up front. I think he's an ideal purchase. Newcastle need to sell. It's not dreamland for me. I think this is very possible that we could try and go for Isak this summer. Now, here's an interesting one. Kylian Mbappe. Now, obviously, most likely he's going to Madrid. Pretty much already confirmed, but I put him in anyway because his contract's running out. He's the best player in the world. And he's going to be a free agent in a couple months, a few weeks even. So I had to put him in the list. He's dreamland, but, I can just see Todd Bowley driving up to France and whipping out the fattest contract ever just to try and get him over here. And obviously he's going to say no because he's going to Real Madrid. But, still, I have visions of Todd Bowley throwing every bit of money this football club has at Mbappe. I hope that isn't true, but yeah. Diogo Costa, goalkeeper at Porto, 24 years of age, ever present in the Champions League, very good goalkeeper, probably the best young, in quotes, goalkeeper in world football. I think a lot of clubs are going to be after this guy. Chelsea, in my opinion, need a better goalkeeper. Whether that's Kepa or hope Petrovic gets better is another story. But I personally don't see this one happening, but I can see us being linked with him heavily. I'm going to put this one in. I'm going to put it in risky because I think it would cost us a lot of money purely because the competition we'd face. I'm not sure what clubs will be looking for goalkeepers, but I'm pretty sure some big clubs will be in for him. And I think it's a risk based on spending a load amount of money on a goalkeeper when we bought 2 last summer. Victor Boniface, Leverkusen striker. He's got 11 goals in 20 appearances, 9 assists as well. Very good goals and assists return. Actually 1 goal and assist on average in every appearance he's had in the Bundesliga this season. 18 goals in 13 appearances. 18 goals in 30 appearances, 10 assists as well. In total, solid centre forward, but once again, I'm having to look. Is he a direct upgrade on Nicholas Jackson? I don't think so. I think Victor Boniface, I'm not going to waste too much time on. I'm just going to say he's a risky signing, which a lot of these are turning out to be. João Felix, already been at Chelsea, of course, on loan. Many people really liked his trickery and stuff like that, but he did get unlucky hitting the post like 4 or 5 times in his Chelsea career. But the amount of money he would cost and the amount of wages he would cost for his output, no, he's a solid no for me. He's had his time. Let him go somewhere else now. Stay far away. Way too much money. Piero Hincapié, also at Bayer Leverkusen. A lot of Bayer Leverkusen players. He's 22 years old. Defender, right back, centre back, that sort of position. He's not the tallest, but he's not the smallest. Sorry, not right back, left back, centre back. I think Hincapié is a good player from the few times I've watched him. Chelsea do need a left back, and we do need a centre back. He's got experience in the sense of he's played at a team that knows how to win, but he's not necessarily going to come in and be an immediate leader. I also don't see why he would want to leave. As many, if not all, Leverkusen players, I don't see why they would want to leave, but has been confirmed that they're going to have to sell at least one player, and we know it's not Florian Wirtz. That's why he's not in the list at all. Hincapi, I think I'd like him, but I think I've got to put him at risky as well because we already have Kukurea, we already have Ben Chilwell. This guy, for me, he's not a world class immediate upgrade. He's not. It's just not, and he might not cut it in the Prem. It just might not work out. It's risky. A lot of transfers are going to be put in risky because I've got PTSD. I'm a Chelsea fan. Okay, Kareem Benzema. I'm just going to put him in no. I only really put him in the list because we were heavily linked with him in January. I'm just going to put him in no. I don't like him. Brilliant footballer. I just don't like him. Let's move on. Araujo. Now this is interesting because I don't think he wants to leave Barcelona, but there's been a lot of links with him, Chelsea, Man United, that sort of range, and said that Barcelona might sell him this summer. So it's very interesting. Despite his absolute disaster class in the Champions League, where he got rightfully sent off, I really like him. Every time I see him, excellent. He's going to cost an arm and a leg, though, from Barcelona. If they're going to have to sell one of their star players, it's going to cost 70, 80, 90 million pounds. I know it's going to cost that much. And that's not really the caliber, that's not really the type of player I think Chelsea should be looking at in terms of the centre back position. We already have Colwill, Fafana. We have a lot of centre backs already, and I think we need another centre back, but not if it's going to cost 90 million pounds. But in terms of raw talent, and depending on who we sell, I would say Araujo is an ideal signing in the sense of what he brings to the table immediately. He's going to bring leadership. He's going to bring height. He's going to bring experience. He's 25. He's plays at Barcelona. Now, this is an interesting one. Bento. Uh, he's Brazilian. He plays in the Brazilian league for a team I've never heard of, I won't lie. But he's made his Brazil full debut recently. Wouldn't cost a lot. Solid goalkeeper from the little snip bits I've seen. I've watched like 1 3-minute completion. I think in terms of just signing another goalkeeper, if we get rid of Sanchez and Kepa and we need another one to compete with Petrovic, I think he's ideal because it's minimal risk. He's not going to cost a lot at all. A lot of clubs want him, like Nottingham Forest, West Ham. I think we've been linked with him. I think minimal risk, right? Sign him if he's any good. Well done. If he's absolutely shit, then it didn't cost too much, did it? So win-win, really. I think if depending on what happens with Kepa and Sanchez, we got to sign a new goalkeeper, and I think this guy probably should be that goalkeeper. Jared Bowen. We've been linked with experience recently, considering we've ripped up the youngster strategy that we've been employed over the past 2 years. We've been linked with Jared Bowen a lot. He's all right, isn't he? 32 appearances, 16 goals, 6 assists in the Premier League this season. Very good return, especially for playing at West Ham. But 27, London rival, is going to cost like 60, 50 million at least, minimum. One of their best players, if not the best player at West Ham. I think I don't want him personally. I think it's a solid no from me. Just I see Jared Bowen and I think, okay, yeah, he's going to be at West Ham forever. I don't see him ever moving, and that's a bad thing, in my opinion. We're gonna move. We're gonna move on. Yao Polina. I am personally obsessed with this guy. I think he is absolutely amazing. He his tackling methods, his no nonsense. He just sits in front of the centre backs, does his job. and he does it really well. One of the best DMs in the Premier League, in my opinion. Absolutely amazing. He picks up cheese like he's Wallace and Gromit or something. Gets a lot of yellow cards, but I don't care about that. I like it crunching old school tackles, and he loves doing that. I love this guy. We need a DM. I think he's a 10 out of 10 signing. Premier League proven, very experienced in the Premier League. Get him in. I want this guy signed this summer. 60 mil, 50 mil, probably going to be about that. London, like one of our biggest London rivals, of course, plays for Fulham. Bring him in, bring him in, bring him in. Include him in a deal with Brozier or something. I don't care. Just get him in. I really like him. Moving on to another player I really like, Grimaldo. This guy's goal return and assist return in the Bundesliga this season has been absolutely insane. Every single Leverkusen match that I've watched, he has either scored or assisted multiple times. He's got 9 goals, 14 assists in 31 Bundesliga appearances from left back. He is an absolute machine at that left back position, the perfect wing back. My ideal signing is him. And yeah, I know this. I know the whole tier list is like, oh, but it could be Dreamland because he's at Leverkusen, Grimaldo, but I don't care. He's a 10 out of 10 signing for me. I think Chelsea should be trying to get him no matter what. He's 28 years old. He provides experience. He's proven. He's great. We need to get him in my opinion. We need to do everything we can to try and prize him away from Leverkusen. But the reality is he probably won't want to leave, will he? But I'm still going to put him in 10 out of 10 because I've got bias towards him. I just love him. This guy, I've not heard of him before, but I saw yesterday that Chelsea have been linked with him. His name is Quilinci Hartman. He's a left back, which is good to know we're looking at left backs. But immediately I'm looking at his player profile. He's injured until the 1st of January next year. Solid no. Why are we even looking at him? No way, Jose. Knee surgery. Out until January 1st, 2025. No way. Nope. Keep him far away from this injury-ridden football club, otherwise the other knee will explode upon arrival. Let's move on very quickly before he gets injured, even from me talking about him being linked with Chelsea. Callum Wilson. I'm not going to look up his stats or his age or anything. I'm just going to say solid no. I don't want him. I'm only bringing him up because we was linked with him in January. I don't want him. Don't think we're going to be linked with him again. Let him stay at Newcastle. This guy, Ousmane Diomande. I think that's how you say it. I've seen him play a couple times this season, but I've never like picked up on him particularly. He's not stood out to me. He's a centre back. He's tall. He's young. So I mean, great. We're looking at centre backs, but in my opinion, it's too risky getting young centre backs. We need to bring in some experience or something like that. I think Theo Hernandez is also someone that I have an absolute heavy bias towards. I just love him, and I don't really know why. This season, he's not really done too well in terms of assists, but he does have 5 goals in 29 appearances in the Serie A. He's got 3 assists. Left back, 26, experienced, solid. I think Luke. Really depends on how much he would cost, and I don't think he would leave Milan. I think he's going to stay at Milan for a very long time, probably until PSG want him. To be honest, yeah. But Theo Hernandez is going in Dreamland for me because I just don't think we would sign him. Don't think he would leave Milan for Chelsea. And I know Grimaldo should probably be in Dreamland, but I'm delusional, so he's staying up there. John Duran, Aston Villa, young striker. We were linked with him heavily in January. We were going to buy him. I'm glad we didn't, but I really do like him as a footballer. In the times that I've watched him at Villa, he looks really promising, but way too risky, and like too risky to a degree no, I like him so much I will leave him in risky, but it could easily be no because he's nowhere near an improvement on Nicholas Jackson. He's younger, so much more unproven, and yeah, we don't need him, in my opinion. Let's move on. Victor Osimhen been off the boil this season as opposed to the season before. 14 goals, 3 assists in 22 Serie A appearances. 16 goals, 4 assists in 29 total appearances. Victor Osimhen, I love him. I've heard over a couple of years now that he absolutely adores Drogba. So, that Chelsea link, that Chelsea love that he might already have. Chelsea supporter, of course, growing up. Um, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him at Chelsea, but he's gonna cost like £110 million, and how many times have Chelsea done that this under Todd Bowley? It's just crazy money for another striker who's not really been world class this year. He was great at AFCON, at least from the 2 matches of his that I watched. But I can't put him in 10 out of 10 because he's going to cost so much money. I put him at the front of ideal because he would be ideal if we're not looking at the money. Victor Osimhen would be ideal, just an outright number 9. Big Chelsea fan. Yeah, I think he's ideal besides the price tag. Jack Grealish, we've been heavily linked with this guy recently. No, just no, and I'm not going to elaborate. Please, please, Chelsea board, no, I don't want him. If he joins and proves me wrong, fair enough, but I just don't want him. Leon Bailey. It's surprising that I've seen rumours linking him to Arsenal and Chelsea. I just thought he would want to stay at Villa, considering his manager's just signed a new contract. And maybe he does, and the rumours are fake. That's also a possibility. I'm going to say Leon Bailey is too injury prone. He seems to always pick up little knocks in his career. It's just one of them players. I'm 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 going to say solid no because we have too many injury problems as it is. We need someone with a clean record, or at least much cleaner than Leon Bailey's. Let him stay at Aston Villa. Mike Maignan, AC Milan goalkeeper. I don't see why he would leave AC Milan, but we have been linked with him. We've been scouting him this season. He would cost a lot for a goalkeeper, 60, 50 million, probably. I don't think he'd necessarily want to join us, but he is French. We've got a lot of French players, especially in defence. So that link could be one to keep an eye on. Obviously, being able to speak to defence is a big contributing factor. But for me, Mike Maignan is. I'm going to put him in Dreamland purely because I don't think he's going to want to leave AC Milan, especially for Chelsea. Max Kilman. Interesting. He is absolutely massive. He's 26. He's English. He's Premier League proven. It wouldn't be very expensive. 35 appearances in the Premier League this season. He's been solid. He's not been outstanding. But I think if Chelsea are short on money, if they spend big on other positions, and we still need a centre back, I think Max Kilman could be ideal. And now I'm not saying that in terms of talent. I think we bring him in and he's immediately a squad player. I think solid, reliable squad player. Max Kilman. Might be a bit odd of me saying that as a Chelsea fan, being okay with wanting to sign Max Kilman, but I realise the situation we're in right now. I'm not absolutely delusional, even though I said I was previously in the video, but yeah, I'm not. Jordan Pickford. This is going to be the quickest one on the list because he's going in the no category. I could make a Jordan Pickford category below no, but I won't. I'm going to save that for somebody else maybe, and Actually, no, probably not. Probably not. Artem Dovbik, Girona centre forward. Girona having a brilliant season, of course, but 19 goals, 5 assists, 31 appearances in La Liga. He's a centre forward. He's quite tall. He's 26, but I don't necessarily think he's an immediate improvement on Jackson, which is, the big deciding factor in the striker decision. So for me, solid no. Um, don't get him. Get someone else, in my opinion. Let's move on to Victor Gyökeres. Victor Gyökeres, Sporting Lisbon player. He's 25 years old, quite tall, proven solid number 9. Not proven in the Premier League, of course. He did have a spell in England, but that was in the Championship. He's got 26 goals and 9 assists in 30 appearances in the Portuguese league. This guy, for me, this guy is the striker Chelsea need to buy. Not going to cost a huge amount of money. Our owners are a very good relationship with the Sporting owners, so there's that connection already. In fact, they love Sporting so much that they want to buy the club. Hopefully they don't do that, because the European complications I can't be asked to deal with as a fan. I want Victor Gyökeres at Chelsea. I think he immediately solves the problem that we've had. I don't think he's going to cost above £70 million. I want him at Chelsea. A lot of clubs are going to be after him because the striker market is a bit dead right now, but he is the ideal striker that I would love to have at this football club. Absolutely love him. Really do hope that we continue to be linked with him. And I really hope we get him above any other striking option on the planet. Elise, heavily linked with him, of course, because we had the contract agreed, the transfer fee agreed, and then he signed a new deal at Palace. So for me, that is just an immediate no, because you don't just blue ball us like that and get to have a second chance. No. Injury prone, really good football player, but wherever he goes, he's going to get like 15 appearances in the whole season during the league campaign. So, yeah, hopefully he doesn't come to Chelsea. Onana, this is not the Manchester United goalkeeper that I'm referring to. It's the Evertonian midfielder. I really like this guy. I think Chelsea need another midfielder given our problems this season. Believe it or not, I can't believe I'm saying that we need another midfielder, considering we spent 200 million on 2 players in midfield, but I still think we do. And I think that man could be Onana. The owners of Everton obviously need to sell and balance books and all that sort of thing, and there's chaos everywhere at Everton. I think Onana is an ideal signing. I really like him. Obviously quite young, 22, but still, would really like him. I think wherever he goes, I think he will move this summer. Wherever he goes, he's going to become a superstar. And hopefully, if Arsenal go in for him or another Premier League team like Spurs, Chelsea swoop in and steal him, especially if they force Gallagher out the club, which I hope doesn't happen. Let's move on to another Evertonian, Jared Braithwaite. 32 appearances in the Premier League this season, Jared Braithwaite. Very tall, very young, but he's proven he can do it in the Prem already, which is, a big deal. Yeah, Sean Dyche just really knows how to make centre-backs, doesn't he? 30 mil, 40 mil pounds to sign him from Everton. It's pretty much confirmed that he's going to be leaving because they need to raise money somehow. I think, excuse me, I think he's an ideal signing for Chelsea, to be honest, above Max Kilman. But I'm not gonna bother ordering them all too much. I can't be bothered. I think I prefer Chelsea to spend the same amount of money on Braithwaite than Kilman, even though Kilman is like 5 years older, more experienced. But if we're going to sign a centre back from a Premier League club that won't necessarily walk straight into the first team, I think it should be Jared Braithwaite from Everton. Let's move on to Evan Ferguson from Brighton. Chelsea and Brighton, no, just straight up no. Why? Because he's from Brighton and they'd charge us 14 arms, 15 legs, 15% of the club's whole entire stock market. Braithwaite, stay away, pal. Sorry, not Braithwaite. I've been saying Jared Braithwaite, I think. It's Branthwaite. Sorry about that. And I actually meant to say Evan Ferguson. My mind is just absolutely scrambled right now. The amount of people that I'm just seeing. Anyway, let's move straight on to Nico Williams. A lot of Chelsea fans like him. Winger, of course. I'm going to say he's a risky signing. I don't want him personally. But even if we did buy him, he's not an immediate, walk straight in. I want Hutchinson to play. I think he's earned a spot in this squad, Hutchinson, as I said in my last video. And I'd rather play Hutchinson than spend 50, 60 million on Nico Williams and him to just turn out to be a flop, Now, the actual Braithwaite, which I'm surprised to see Chelsea and Man U are linked with this guy. It can't be real. He's going in no immediately, quicker than Pickford. I'm not elaborating. Let's move on. Now, Darwizzy. Liverpool's Darwizzy. I absolutely love this guy, and it might be a controversial opinion, but I really love Darwin Nunez as a striker. His personality on the ball, his traits, is just how much he shoots. Yeah, he misses a lot, but he's just got something about him that I like, which especially a Liverpool player has to take a lot for me to like them. I absolutely hate Trent. I absolutely hate Mo Salah. I absolutely hate Jota. But I really, really like Darwin Nunez. He's going in the Dreamland category. I personally would like to see him play for Chelsea, but I don't see it happening ever. I think Liverpool aren't going to sell him. And even though Chelsea have been heavily linked with him last year, I don't think anything is actually going to come of it. Let's move on to Aaron Ramsdale, who has been treated very harshly by Arteta, by, quite frankly, an average goalkeeper in the form of Raya, in my opinion. I think Ramsdale is just about the same as Raya. Maybe he's a little bit worse with the ball at his feet, but in my personal opinion, a goalkeeper should just be able to save shots. And Ramsdale is very good at that. Would I like to see him play for Chelsea? It really depends on the money. And he's not going to walk in and be a bench player. He doesn't want to be a bench player again, so we'd have to start him. I'm going to say it's a risky move because I think it would cost us a lot of money buying from Arsenal. And I don't necessarily think he's that good that it's an immediate upgrade in goal. That's anything substantial and noteworthy. He's not good enough to be an ideal signing or a 10 out of 10. But he's realistic and he's not someone that I would just say no to immediately, like Pickford. Once again, Newcastle rumoured to need to sell. Bruno Guimaraes of Newcastle is someone I really, really do like. He's 26, defensive midfielder. We need a defensive midfielder, but the fact that I'm seeing that his market value is £85 million is a bit concerning. I think for that amount of money, I don't think he's a risky signing. I just don't necessarily think Newcastle would want to sell this guy. I think probably it'd be Isaac. It really does depend. I like him, and we do need a DM, but he's going to cost a lot of money. I'm going to put him in the not a solid no, but I think it's Dreamland. I don't think he'd want to join us. Lenny Yoro is 18, tall, plays for Lille in League One. Apparently, French media outlets say that he's like the hottest prospect in France right now, which is a big claim. Uh, but I don't see how an 18-year-old solves Chelsea's problems right now. I don't know. I see him and nothing jumps out immediately as a solution. I'm gonna say it is risky. It just is a risky transfer. I wouldn't say no because I trust Chelsea's scouting department, as delusional as that sounds. I still do. Still have faith in him. But I will say it's risky. If we buy an 18-year-old to replace Thiago Silva and don't get experience at the back, then we're heavily relying on having no injuries and these young players to develop into leaders very quickly. And yeah, that's not gone well this season, has it? Murillo, 21 years old, absolute unit of a centre back. I really love this guy. Whenever I watch Forest play, Murillo stands out at the back for me every single time. He's an absolute force of nature at the back. He's so good. I don't know about his passing ability or anything like that, but just as a raw defender, he's amazing. Forest need to sell, apparently, especially if they get relegated. I hope they don't, but if they get relegated, it's going to be the big names that want to leave. I don't think Murillo's necessarily a big name, but he's a saleable asset. I'm going to put Murillo in ideal purely because I like him. Don't I still don't agree that a young, quote, unproven centre back is the solution to Thiago Silva, but yeah, I'm still going to put him in ideal because I just like him as a footballer. And if we're judging purely based on footballing ability, I think he's good enough to be a secondary centre back at Chelsea Football Club. Speaking of centre backs, we got Jean-Claire Todibo for OG Nice or whatever the club's called. Um, don't know much about this guy. I just know that Man U really want him. Uh, I'm just gonna stick him in risky because I don't know anything about him. Yeah, there are a few players which I forgot to put in this list. Eberici Eze for Crystal Palace would be a solid no for me. Pure, not off the basis of his football talent. I think he's very, very good footballer, but he's injured all the time, like Elise is. Solid no. Too many injuries. And another player that I forgot to put on the list is Ivan Toney. Very, very good footballer. Reminds me a little bit of Harry Kane in the sense of he's a clinical, ruthless goal scorer that can pass a ball really, really well. But 100 mil is reportedly what Brentford want for Ivan Toney. He's a solid no as well. He also come out and said that he really wants to join Arsenal or Liverpool. So, a player that's already got his head somewhere else, don't want to spend 100 mil on, solid no. And last but not least, former Chelsea player Jamal Musiala. Now, this guy would cost an arm and a leg, I believe, but I've also seen rumours that Bayern would accept £80 million for him. And I've seen that he's like disheartened at Bayern or something like that. I don't believe it. I think he's going to stay at Bayern. But Jamal Musiala, I absolutely love him. Former Chelsea player, yes, he's young, and yes, former Chelsea players don't really do well when we bring them back usually. But I love him. If there was a chance to buy him, I would buy him. I would be on board with that. I don't care if it's not necessarily what we need, but I'm gonna stick him in Dreamland purely because a lot of money. Don't think he'd want to come to us necessarily. I don't think he'd want to leave Bayern full stop, but Dreamland, Jamal Musiala, perfect player for us, but you know, uh, never gonna happen in my opinion. Right then, so let's do a little recap. The player that I think we should sign definitely 100% no matter what is Yao Polinia. talent, 28 years old, absolute baller in the position he plays. I want him in that DM position for Chelsea. Another player that I think we should throw the book at to try and get is Grimaldo. I think we're crying out for a left wing back, and Mark Cucurella has not really worked. Ben Chilwell is always injured. Levi Colwill, I don't want him playing at left back ever again. I would say Ian Matson's an option, but it's already gone to Dortmund, pretty much already done. I wish Malo Gusto could play there, but he can't. He's going to play with Reece James on the right hand side. Well, not with him. He's going to compete with him. And if we do sell Cucurella, we definitely 100% need a left back. And I think the ideal one in a dream world would be Grimaldo for me. And then the final actual player I think Chelsea need to get 100% is Victor Gyökeres. I love him. He's just got something about him that I personally really love, and he needs to come and join his home. He needs to slap on the blue of Chelsea and do his celebration with the mask thing that he does at Stamford Bridge next season. Needs to happen. Let me know what I absolutely stunk up in the video. Leave a like on the video if you want more of these things. Absolutely terrible takes, some of them very hypocritical at times, I know, but anyways, that's the end. Goodbye. Bye.